Hey guys, welcome to what I believe will be our last homework before the Math State test. We're going over Unit 4, Equations and Inequalities. Check out these answers. Number 1, you should have gotten $20 for each t-shirt. Number 2, Catherinita bought 5 notebooks. Number 3, the answer was A. Number 4, you had to write this equation and also get an answer of 6 games. And number 5, you had to write this equation and get an answer of 18 players. Any of that was confusing, please review it right now. It's one of our last opportunities to, so I hope you do. Alright, Nigel bought 3 t-shirts that each cost the same amount and 1 pair of jeans that cost $50. The items she bought cost a total of $110. This problem is really telling us an equation, but you don't need to write one necessarily. It's saying that 3 t-shirts, or 3 times the cost of a t-shirt, plus $50 for 1 pair of jeans, is going to total $110 exactly. And now we just have to figure out how many t-shirts, well, how much each t-shirt cost. And one strategy, which might help some people who are a little stuck, would be to use an open number line. Let's start off with the cost of 3 t-shirts, and then the $50 jeans. That's going to equal a total of $110. And then if you go backwards, we say, well, if we know that it's 110 up to here, we could do 110 minus 50, which gives you 60. So that's 50, and this amount right here is 60. So that tells us that those 3 t-shirts together need to cost $60. So then you can just divide 60 by 3 and figure out that each t-shirt must cost $20. So T equals 20. Another common strategy that you guys used in this unit, you would take $110, you'd subtract away what we know, which is the $50, which is 60. And then since there's 3 t-shirts, each that are the same amount, you divide by 3 and get an answer of $20 per shirt. Catherinita spent a total of $30 at Staples, and she spent $10 on a new Trapper Keeper, plus $4 for every new notebook she bought. Notice it doesn't say how many notebooks, because right after that it asks how many notebooks did she buy. Alright, so that means that she's going to spend $10 on a Trapper Keeper, and she's going to spend $4 for every notebook, so you can do 4 times n, and that needs to be equal to exactly $30. And then to solve it, maybe even if you didn't write the equation, it's just $30 minus the $10 for the Trapper Keeper, which would give us $20. And then $20, that would be, well, let's see, $4 per notebook. So that's 5 notebooks. And again, some of you might need to draw out an open number line to really get this right, and that's totally okay. You have unlimited time. So we have $4 for every notebook. I'm just going to kind of do this as like 4 times the notebooks we don't know. And then plus the $10, it's going to equal 30. So then kind of going backwards, that means that the notebooks need to be $20. And then you can be like, well, 4 times what is 20? 4 times 5. So she must have bought 5 notebooks for $4 each. Alright, something you guys were really good at when we were in this unit was finding the missing lengths of sides when we know the perimeter. So if you look at this state test question from last year, it says the perimeter of a certain pentagon is 10.5 centimeters. So that means that remember what perimeter is. Perimeter is the length all the way around. So that means if we add up all 5 side lengths, it should equal 10.5. And the problem is asking what's the value of h. So you could write an equation for this. You could say, well, we have h plus h plus h plus h plus this one side that we do know, and that equals the perimeter, which is 10.5. And then you just have to figure out what h was. You can also think of this as 4h plus 1.7 equals 10.5. So maybe you'll start like this. You'll do the whole perimeter and you'll subtract 1.7. When you do that, you get 8.8. So that's like saying that the 4 h's need to add up to 8.8. Then you could do 8.8 divided by 4, and that will end up giving you 2.2, which is one way that you could have got this answer. You definitely could have also shown it visually: 2.2, 4.4, 6.6, 8.8, and then add that last 1.7 to get 10.5. Or maybe you weren't sure how to write equations for this. You could also just take this and test it. Put 2.2 around each of these sides and see if it adds up to 10.5 like it says it should. Lots of ways to get the answer, especially when they give you multiple choice options. Alright, this is a problem that many of you can solve, but you might miss part of the instructions if you don't read it carefully. Jeffrey purchases a video game system from GameStop. He buys a new Xbox One for $400. He spends he spends $60 for each game, and his total cost before taxes is $760. Look what it says here. It says write and solve an equation. So we can't just put an answer here. We also have to write an equation, and it needs to model the situation, and it has to use G for games. Alright, so let's think about this. First, it's $60 per game. So to use a term from our expressions lessons, that would be our variable term. It's $60 per game, or 60G. But then we'll also have a constant term. That's because no matter how many games he buys, he's still only going to buy one Xbox, unless he'd be crazy. It's $400. And then, notice it doesn't say write an inequality, which means since we're writing an equation, it's going to be an equal sign, and it needs to equal $760. So that right there, that's 1 or 2 points on the question. You can't skip that part. And once you have an equation, it's really helpful, because you can kind of go backwards. You can take the whole cost, then you know he's going to spend 400 of that on the Xbox One, which gives us $360. And then he's going to spend $60 on each game. And if you do that, you should end up with 6 games. Alright, another state test question from a while ago, I guess. You can use a calculator or a phone or something to help you with these decimal problems for sure. Members of a baseball team raised $967.50 to go to a tournament. They rented a bus for $450 and budgeted $28.75 per player. They will spend all the money they raise. Notice that hint there. They're telling you that this is going to be an equal sign, not an inequality. They're going to spend all of it, exactly. Write and solve an equation that models the situation and can be used to determine the number of players the team could bring to the tournament. Alright, so let's start off by writing our equation. And let's start off with the variable term. It's $28.75 times the number of players for meals. So that's how much it costs for each player to get all their meals at this tournament. Then there's a constant term. That's the one-time payment for the bus. It's $450. Since they say they're going to spend all their money, let's use an equal sign. And the team raised $967.50. So this, again, is worth 1 or 2 points, just to be able to write the equation. And now we need to solve it for P, the number of players that the team can bring to the tournament. Alright, so let's subtract $450. That's the cost for renting the bus. So that would be $517 left. And then it's going to cost $28.75 per player for the meals. I'm going to do that on a calculator. $517.50 divided by $28.75. And a sense that I did it right because I got a nice round number of 18 players. Guys, hopefully that equations review was helpful to you. Very last page is going to go over inequalities. Keep it up.